What's going on, YouTube family? It's your boy Mike Macklin, aka Money Mike, the financial Thanos, because I'm snapping my fingers and I'm turning your financial problems to dust. Hey, I want to welcome you guys to my channel. If this is your first time tuning in, I ask that you do me a huge favor and go ahead, subscribe to my channel, and also turn the post notification bell on so you know exactly when I'm dropping new content. And I'm dropping it all the time, so you definitely don't want to miss it. And if you enjoy the comment, please go ahead and hit that like button. And also, if you have any additional comments or questions during the broadcast, feel free to leave your questions in the comments below, and I will more than happily answer those questions on a future video. But without any further ado, we're going to get right into this thing. Forgive me first and foremost, because I'm going to have to look down in my notes because I did get this question from a Facebook group. And so I'm bringing it to you all in case this answers your question as well. And I also took notes, so occasionally I may have to look down in my notes. So just forgive me for that, but enjoy this content nonetheless. So the question is basically, I invest in flips, meaning they invest in properties that they intend to buy at a lower price, clean it up, meaning, renovate it, and then sell it at a higher price. So they don't plan on holding the assets very long. Most times this is a hold of maybe 90 days tops. So just keep that all in mind as we talk about this. So they invest in flips. So the question is, should I start an LLC or sole proprietorship for tax purposes? So to answer that question, I'm kind of going to answer it in two parts. First, I'm going to talk about what each of those structures are, and then we're going to talk about some advice as far as how to structure that. So again, looking down at my notes, forgive me again, but I have to kind of stay organized with this or I'll be all over the place, and you don't want me to start rambling, trust me. So sole proprietorships for real estate. So a sole proprietorship is a kind of a default business structure, which is formed by a person who's engaging in business in their individual capacity. That means just like if I just decided I wanted to start doing business, I would just go in as a sole proprietorship. And basically I'm doing this without having to file a legal entity. So I don't have to go through the state to file anything. Now the assets and income of the business is entirely owned by the individual, and all income is taxed as personal income. So keep that in mind. If you're a sole proprietorship, this basically getting taxed the same way as your 9-to-5 income. Keep that in mind. Now, unlike other entities where business income passes through the business to the individual, all income from the business is considered immediately earned by the sole proprietor, and all property purchased by, transferred to, and owned by the business is simply owned by the sole proprietor personally. So again, there's no legal entity. And before I get too far into this, let me put this disclaimer out there. I am not a tax attorney. I am not a CPA. I'm a financial coach. So I am not giving you legal advice. I'm giving you personal finance advice. You will want to consult with an attorney, a CPA, to really get into the weeds about this. Just wanted to put that out there just for those who, hey, I don't want y'all trying to sue Money Mike. I am a LLC, so, you kind of gonna have to go through some things to get to me, but we're going to get back into this thing. Now, the advantages of this business structure is it's very easy to start. Again, there's no paperwork, so, you're just doing your thing. Now, as a real estate investor, you simply purchase or invest in real estate. That's all it is. It's just like you buying it personally. Okay. Now, depending on the laws in your state, there may be a requirement to register your sole proprietorship, but this registration does not create your sole proprietorship. It's simply a requirement to comply with state law. Again, this is all dependent on where you are. And, again, disclaimer, it's just me from a personal financial coach standpoint. Now, Your sole proprietorship is created automatically by default when you start doing business. So again, there's nothing really you have to do. You just get in there and get to it. Now, if you choose to use a trade name to conduct business rather than your legal name, you may need to file a DBA, or doing business as. Okay, it's still not a structure or an entity, but it's just a legal way to kind of name it outside of your personal first and last name. You simply include business income and deductions in your personal income tax return. So you're going to do your taxes basically the same way. Now, however, if you're a real estate investor, there's some major disadvantages to this. Okay, first, unlike entity options, a sole proprietor offers no degree of asset protection from creditors or lawsuits. Okay, so you get no asset protection, meaning if somebody wants to sue you, let's say somebody's in that property while you own it. Now, again, flips, you don't keep them long, but there may be a period of time where they belong to you. So if you do it in a sole proprietor name, that's going to be on you. They will, they can seize your assets, meaning both those business assets and your personal assets, meaning your home, your vehicle, whatever, to satisfy that lawsuit. So keep that in mind. Now, furthermore, depending on your debt to income ratio and how you choose to finance your investments, you may be able to begin a sole proprietorship. You may want to begin as a sole proprietorship, but if and when you exceed the debt to income ratio permitted by your lender, you will have to form a legal entity to attain commercial funding. So what that means is, okay, from a debt to income ratio, meaning how much you make versus how much expenses you have, there's a certain percentage that you have to have in order to qualify for loans, to acquire real estate, to acquire homes, whatever. So if you start exceeding that threshold, this is another reason you may want to look at something different than a sole proprietorship. So again, sole proprietorship from a tax advantage is the same as personal. So there's no real difference there on a tax standpoint. And also the debt to income thing may come back on you as far as you have no asset protection. Now, the next entity is a limited liability company, or LLC. The next option you was looking at. So LLC is a common entity choice for real estate investors, and it offers many advantages. Choosing this structure for your real estate investment business allows you to limit your personal liability in the business to money. It allows you to limit your personal liability in the business to the money you contribute and the debts you co-sign for. This includes personal assets that you contribute as collateral to a loan. In an LLC, owners are known as members. Okay, so if you're the only owner in the real estate LLC, you have a single member LLC. This is what I have right now. I have a single member LLC. It's just me, Money Mike. Okay, in a single member LLC, all business income will pass through the entity and be treated as personal income for tax purposes. However, you will not be personally liable for the debts, claims, and liabilities of the business beyond the amount you contribute. To form an LLC, you got to file articles of organization with your appropriate state government authority. So basically, you get with the Secretary of State, file your LLC. Note on this one, your assets are protected up to the amount that you contribute into the business. Okay, so you will not be held liable for the debts, claim, and liabilities of the business beyond the amount you contribute. Okay, so this is a way a lot of businesses kind of protect themselves. Okay, now protection for your personal assets in an LLC is not absolute. I want to put that out there. It's not absolute. That means you're not always going to be 100% protected. There are some stipulations. Okay, one, if there's a unity of interest between you as an individual and the LLC, and if it's necessary to look past the LLC structure to prevent fraud or injustice, then they will do so. Now, this is called piercing the corporate veil. The corporate veil, again, is just that protection from you personally from that business. It's kind of your separation from it. Okay. Now, so with that being said, tax wise, both of them are kind of treated the same. But the advantage of the LLC is, one, you get asset protection. Okay, so if somebody comes at you and you have an LLC, it's a little bit harder to get to you. Now, there are, again, those provisions where they may get to you, but it's a lot harder than if you do it as a sole proprietor. From a tax standpoint, they pretty much tax you the same on both of them. They both tax as like personal income. So, to get down to the real answer, I would personally go with an LLC, just again because you have that asset protection. You may encounter a situation where someone gets injured in that property. Maybe one of the contractors or somebody gets injured in that property while they're fixing it up, or maybe somebody comes to look at it, and before you sell it, you still own it. Maybe somebody gets injured while they're viewing your home. So now you are personally liable, and your personal assets can go, be at risk here. So I would personally go with the LLC, again, just because of the personal protection, as well as, they can't seize as much of your assets as they would be able to if you was a sole proprietor. Tax wise, they're about the same. Again, as I said towards the beginning of this broadcast, you're going to want to consult with a tax professional, a CPA, a lawyer, or somebody like that, to really get down into all the nitty gritty of the tax laws. But again, Money Mike's opinion, my opinion is I would go with an LLC in this situation. Hey, I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this. If you have any additional comments or information to add to this, by all means, leave it down in the comments. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. Hey, I appreciate you all tuning in. This has been Money Mike with money questions. Hope you guys have a great one. And as always, I love you. God loves you. He smiles when he sees you, and he sees you all the time, so he's always smiling. So why aren't we? Hey, y'all have a great one. And one more thing before I go. I am, again, a personal financial coach. I specialize in a 5-step system that's going to help you achieve financial success. If you want to learn more about that, I want you to go to my website, www.moneymike313.com. That's going to pop on the screen here in a second. Go to that website, book a free appointment with me, and let's talk about how to get you on the right side of it, guys. Hey, I'll see you on the next one. God bless you all. Gone.